Hi guys, it's Elena and I'm enchanted to have you be here on my channel. If you're new, welcome. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe. I'm glad to have you here on my channel. And if you've been here before, hello, I'm glad you're back. For this video, I'm going to be designing my traveling altar. I've had this box for a while and I got it from Michael's at least 2 years ago. And it's just been sitting around. I've been meaning to do it and I just figured it'll be a great opportunity to kind of show you my process and what I'm going to do. So here I am marking out the centers both horizontally and vertically, just so I have a good starting point. I actually moved it a centimeter higher on the horizontal line, so it's just a little bit off center and it gives me more room towards the bottom to kind of work on. This is a little box. I think it's meant for paints and paintbrushes and like craft supplies, but I figured it's so cute. I love the color of it. I love how woodeny and like old-fashioned-y it is. So I figured it might make a really good traveling altar for me. And right now what I'm doing is decorating the top. And the top is going to be not only decoration to kind of keep everything, you know, witchy and aesthetic and pretty, but it's also going to be a working altar for me. So on the center, I'm going to have a pentacle alongside with the triple goddess symbol. And on the 4 points, the north, south, east, and west, I'm going to have little spots for elements and invoking elements. Those are the things that I almost always do when I'm working a spell or invoking something. So I figured it'll be good to have like a permanent fixture on my little traveling altar. That way I don't have to doodle anything out and I can just, you know, place the corresponding elements in their own spots. I also went and decorated it with some leaves and florals, and I just think it came out quite cute. So here is the process. I did a lot of marking, a lot of erasing, a lot of drawing, a lot of measuring. As you can see here, I'm using a compass tool. I think that's what it's called. I probably haven't used it since like algebra class in elementary school, but it worked out quite well and it helped me draw those perfect circles because I couldn't find a circle the right size, and it just helped me measure things out and space it out the way that I want it. I also used a lot of stencils because I was too scared to give myself the freedom and do it freehand. I wanted it to be as close to symmetrical as possible, though it definitely did not come out symmetrical, but close enough, I would say. So I used a lot of stencils and a lot of marking, a lot of writing, and a lot of erasing. I definitely wanted to give this traveling box more of like an aesthetic view, as well as like a functional view, so I worked really hard in trying to make it look pretty. And here I am using a Dremel tool. I don't know if it's actually a Dremel tool. I've never really carved anything in my whole entire life. This tool is actually it's actually what I use for my nails. I do my own gel nails, and so I have the little tool thingy that helps grind the nails down or shape the nails, and I just changed out the tips. I ended up getting like Dremel bit tips and they fit in, and it worked. So I was pretty happy that the tips worked and that it came out fine. So I was pretty darn excited, and I was so nervous and so scared to start actually doing this because it's going to, you know, damage the wood a little bit or mark the wood, so there's no going back once you start. As you can see here, I'm doing the 4 points with the 4 elements correspond. Like if the top element was pointing north, all of them will be corresponded with their proper directions. And that's usually how I end up setting up my altar. I have it I have it pointing north. I was also very surprised with how easy and smooth carving things in was going to be, and I was really liking the way it was looking. Although it was seeming a little bit unfinished as I was going through it, so I was just trying to work around a way and making sure it looks smooth and good, I guess. On this video, I'm just going to be sharing with you how I decorate this altar and what I'm going to be doing and making it pretty and making it functional. On the next video following this little episode, I'm going to have a little tour of what I'm going to put into my traveling witchy box. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to make sure you are here for that video. I think carving out the star was the most difficult part. I was just so nervous about it since it's like in the center of the box, so I think it made it even worse, and my hand is not the steadiest. I think it came out okay, but definitely I could have went a little bit cleaner on the lines. I wanted to leave it fairly blank and open so I can draw in other things during the time of like the ritual or have place and spots to put things. I know it's fairly small, but things should fit. So I decided that the sides were looking a little bit skimpy, and I decided to take a different stencil with kind of the same feel, the same aesthetic, and go ahead and trace it along the sides just to give it some more detail and some more oomph. Now, don't be tricked by how quickly this whole video is going. It is sped up a lot. I had to take my time, and it was a very, very slow process, but it was so worth it. At least I think so. It came out close to what I was envisioning. Let me know what you guys think, or if you have advice for a different type of altar to make. And here I am going through the sides and carving in the leaves. I find it so satisfying to watch. It's such dark wood and you don't really see the pencil outline, so when I go over it with the Dremel, it just like pops right out and it just looks so cute, and I'm so excited. And here I am going on to the other side, just carving things in. I feel like leaves give it such an organic and witchy feel. Maybe it's because I've been obsessing with plants if you've been following my YouTube videos throughout, but I just love the way it started to look. I love the way it was coming out. And I think I did an okay job for the first time carving anything into wood. If you have any tips or suggestions, if you've done this before, I would definitely take some recommendation. I'm looking to make some other wooden projects, so I'm gladly to take any suggestions for me to improve my techniques. Alright, that part's done. Then I went over some of the other finer details just to touch things up, make sure everything is as close to how I want it as it possibly could be. touched up the little flowers. Then I touched up some of the triangles, made sure that they're nice and even. The points are pointy. And then I went through each of the leaves and free-handed in like the leafy veins, but very gently, so it's almost not like deep. I don't know how to explain it, but like gently, so it's just a very slight outline. I was so nervous to mess up, and I'm glad that I didn't really make any big mistakes. Then I went in with a slightly larger tip and traced around some of the outlines of the circles and the main centerpiece. I feel like it just gave it a slight definition outside of the other detailed lines and just made it stand out just a little bit more. Have you guys listened to any interesting audiobooks lately? Since that's what I kind of do when I work on some artsy stuff. I'm currently listening to Game of Thrones. I'm on the second book, and it is way better than the show, but the show is pretty good too. Putting in the final touches. And I decided to paint in the carvings. It was looking a little bit unfinished and like it needed a little bit more something, a little extra detail, and using this gold paint, I feel like it really made it pop. It's not too crazy out there, and it really goes well with the warm toned wood, and it's sparkly and like shimmery in the light. I just really loved the look of it. Do you have altars at home? How do you set up your altar? Do you invoke the elements similar to what I do, or do you do it in a different way or face it in a different way? I'm super curious to know. Even though this was very long and tedious to do, I really enjoyed doing it. It was like therapeutic almost. I had my audiobook playing and I was just enjoying pretty much coloring. And I definitely love the warmth of the gold colors with the dark wood. I think it comes out really nice. And then of course, going in and painting the leaves as well. I wasn't expecting this paint to work so well on wood. I'm not sure why I was thinking different, but it seeped in so well and it kind of like stuck onto the wood so well, and I was really glad that it turned out the way it did. Working on the other sides, making sure I get as many of the details as possible, and trying to stay within the lines. getting close to being done. Like I said, this process was super tedious, but it was so worth it and kind of relaxing, therapeutic almost. Afterwards, I went over with a very fine grit sandpaper and kind of sanded things over. It helped clean up any of the paint that I did outside the lines, make sure everything was nice and smooth. And then I went over with a clear coat, a shiny clear coat. That way if I place it in the grass or in the ground, it doesn't really get impacted by anything wet. So this is what it looks like, nice and shiny, gold is shimmery, and it's pretty. And the final up close reveal. Don't pay too close attention to the lines, they're not super straight, but that's what it looks like. And if you're curious to see what I'm gonna put inside my traveling altar, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, the notification bell, the whole shebang, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye!